Well, joining me now is Nina Schick from the Open Europe think tank. Normally we'd be talking to her about the European economy, but Nina is half Nepali and has lived in Kathmandu for 18 years. Nina, before the earthquake struck, what was the state of Nepal's economy?
Well, the economy was in disarray and largely to do with a lot of the political challenges the country faces. I mean, the country just came out in 2006 of a 10-year, very brutal civil war, and since then the government has been paralyzed by its inability to rewrite the constitution. So although this disaster, was predictable, Nepal lies on a fault line, and they knew that the next big earthquake would hit, there's been no contingency planning by the government, which has meant that the fallout after this has become much worse.
That's incredible. Why is that? Why wasn't there contingency planning?
Well, Nepal is a very diverse country. We have for centuries seen a centralized government, which has a centralized government and a monarchy before that, which took a lot of the resources of the country. So any kind of consensus amongst the politicians or the different areas of Nepal is very, very hard to come by. So whilst they've been squabbling about the new constitution, the economy has been suffering. It's one of the poorest countries in the world, per capita income of less than $1,000 a year per person, and because of the the geography of the country, a lot of these areas are very, very remote, hard to get to. And corruption is also endemic in the government, which means that the response has been not what it should be.
Really? So you think corruption could well be now hampering the government's ability to coordinate the relief efforts?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not too optimistic about the government's relief efforts. Talking to people who are on the ground, I've been hearing reports of the international community's aid response has been amazing, and a lot of aid has been coming into the international airport in Kathmandu. However, there are reports that that's being now held up at the airport and it's not getting out to those areas where it needs to get out to, because the officials are seizing it because they want to tax it. So some of the aid which has been most efficient actually is that being administered by the local communities and the local expat communities who are buying things in Kathmandu and trying to get it out to the remote areas such as in Sindupalchok district and Gurkha. This is day 5 of the earthquake, and local people who have been there say nobody's arrived. No government aid has arrived, and even in some cases, no international aid has arrived either.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a figure quoted today. It's going to cost something like $10 billion to repair the economy. Is that a figure you recognise?
Well, yes. That would be half of the country's GDP. However, I think the cost of a disaster on this scale is unquantifiable, because Nepal is a country which is predominantly made up of agriculture. Its economy employs 80% of its people. Now, the farmers won't be able to get out and plant their fields. The monsoon is due to start soon. There will be other consequences as a result of this disaster. So who knows? There will be very long-term economic costs, which I think at this stage are currently unquantifiable.
And of course pretty terrible for the tourist sector in particular.
Oh yes, I mean that's a great source of income for Nepal, but actually not as much as people might think. One of the biggest sources of income for the Nepali economy, because they don't have much of a service or manufacturing industry to speak of at all, is the migrant labour that's shipped abroad.
All right, Nina, we've got to leave it there, but all the best to your relatives over there. Hope they're all safe. Thanks for joining us.